gonna be like, Arf! Welcome to the show. So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Alrighty, we good to go. Alright. Welcome to the Spirit Hunters panel on Togashi and all things Hunter x Hunter, Yu Hakusho, Level E. I think we're just gonna do those two, the first two, right?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to talk about Level E, I'm here. If anyone wants to talk about Level E, I'm here, but like, I highly doubt you came for that.
Yeah. So today we're gonna be talking about some fun things about the animes and do fun little games about how people will respond to the COVID situation. So why don't we
You want to introduce ourselves first?
Oh yeah, let's introduce ourselves. Probably a good idea. I'm Patrick. I am one of the co-hosts of the Spirit Hunters, a podcast dedicated to all things Togashi, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Hakusho, Level E eventually, and then sometimes Compound to the Fist and C-Lab 2021 for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. We're weird people. Anyways, next is Joe.
Hey, I'm Joe. I'm also one of the hosts. We didn't really say anything to say beyond that, but I've been a big fan of Yu Hakusho since I was like 12, and turns out my cousins in the Philippines also were, but when they saw it back in Asia.
I'm Hannah. I am one of the co-hosts as well, and when I have time, I act as our graphic designer, so I do our logos, and whenever I can, I do like the episodes, the cover, album art, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I designed this PowerPoint for y'all to see. So
I think it's probably best to stay up here so we can see that.
Oh yeah, you know, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that way we can actually see the.
Let me move the camera.
Yeah.
Continue, Dennis.
Yeah, let's. Yep, cameraman. Good job, Joe.
So who we are?
Who are we?
Yeah, so we are a podcast dedicated to discussing all things Togashi. So far, Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. But who knows, we soon may go into his other works like Level E, discussing stuff that influences a lot of his works. So if you guys kind of want to elaborate on that.
Yep. Like I said, we cover all of his works and everything that influences him. So JoJo, Person Influence, Fist of the North Star. Just a lot of different shows. You probably know a lot more than me, Joe.
A lot of horror movies, it turns out. Togashi's actually like a big fan of the work that the person who made The Ring did before they made The Ring. So yeah, there's a lot of horror movie references in his work, including to H.R. Giger. So if you've ever seen The Dark Tournament, the second stadium, for instance, looks like a lot of human parts. I'll put it that way.
It's kind of like that movie Extends, if you guys ever watched that.
It's very like the movie Extends. Wait, no, it's Existence. I hate you. That's a. Anyways.
So not here, but they're here in our hearts. Is our other co-hosts.
They're not dead, by the way.
They're not dead.
They're just in our minds. But there's Megan and Sarah and Tommy, who's our editor. He's been doing an awesome job editing our episodes in the past like 6 months, right?
Yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah.
Dang, it's been a while.
Yeah. Sing that song.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Yu Hakusho, what used to be our podcast name in the very beginning. So,
real quick, who here is a fan of Yu Hakusho? Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, got some Hakusho fans.
Yu Hakusho heads. Yeah.
This is a kind of a long blurb, but long story short, you have a 14-year-old delinquent who decides to basically play with this kid, make him happy, do some, funky hijinks on the street, and then he gets hit by a car and he dies. So,
Best intro to everything.
yeah.
First 5 minutes of the show, we didn't spoil anything.
But anyways, he gets a second chance in life, and then he has to become a spirit detective and fight demons and stuff.
As you do.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I do if I get hit by a car. That's just my personal opinion, but it's mine alone.
So it's a solid rehab plan.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, this spanned for about 3 seasons from
90s,
anime-wise.
Yeah, it depends how you count the seasons, but yeah, approximately.
In the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course the late 2000s and stuff.
Yeah, it came back to the States.
Yeah, and it came in the late 2000s, and of course you probably watched it the Dark Tournament about 25,000 times as they reran it.
It was
That
the
make
Frieza
sense?
saga of its day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe even better. No, I'm just joking. Probably not. But anyways, the creator of Yu Hakusho is of course Oh, the creator of Yu Yu the characters of Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, sorry. My eyes are broken today, so ignore me. We got Yusuke Urameshi. He is a loudmouth teen who gets killed and brought and is a spirit detective by a baby that gets spanked by a giant demon guy that gets based off of God. I don't know, probably you know more about the God stuff.
He's based off of King Enma from Hindu and Buddhist mythology, who was this character who's basically the judge of the dead. There's a lot more there, but I'll leave it at that.
It's fun stuff. Alright, so the next person we got is Kuwabara, who is Yusuke's best friend, or I guess frenemy. Would you say frenemy is probably a good term for that?
Starts frenemy.
I would say reluctant friendship that's one-sided until down the line, then it's actually a friendship.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Makes plenty of sense. But yeah, basically is just a all-around good guy, even though he is a bit on the dim-witted side. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, he can be. He's very much like earnest dude who just isn't book smart at the beginning.
So is it like Ernest from that movie? No,
I've
just
never
joking.
seen it.
Don't watch it. Anyways, the next character is Kurama, basically a 1,000-year-old demon. He's best boy, right?
Oh yeah, definitely best boy ever and ever and ever. Even though some people like EA more, but I think Kurama's the best one.
That's fair enough. We definitely have a bias for Hiei, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, basically he's a 1,000-year-old demon that possesses a 14-year-old boy's body. I literally don't even know where to start on that and the connotations around that. Maybe Joe, you'd like to explain some of the connotations about that?
It's actually a bit weirder than that because he actually originally possesses a fetus and then gets born into the human world. So he grows up as a human and kind of like has a rebirth and kind of better understands human culture and like the human spirit because of it.
Yeah. I was going to quote a movie, but I don't know what it's based on by, so I'm just going to skip that entirely. Just ignore me. Anyways, the next character is probably the edgiest edgelord of all edging. That was bad. That was bad. Ignore that. Basically, originally a villain for the show who turned good, and good in quotation marks. What is that? About 12 quotation marks? 15?
He's a Vegeta
Yeah.
figure.
Yeah, a Vegeta if he liked killing a lot more and never became good and had a kid.
No, I mean, wait. I was gonna say he eventually becomes good, but like not in the same way. Like their character, him and Vegeta diverge as character archetypes as the time goes on, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, he's probably gonna murder a lot more people than Vegeta did later on, though.
You're not wrong.
Gotcha. What do you think about this?
I would say he stays like chaotic neutral throughout the entire thing, but then like most chaotic neutrals, if they like someone, they'll stick by them for the most part. So that's how I think it works out with PA. So yeah.
No, you can't do it.
I would definitely say he's one of those characters that exhibits like a difference between like ethics versus morality. Like he's a very honorable person, but he doesn't really care about the morality of things. So like, for instance, if he owed you a debt, he would repay it. That's like very ethical, but he might just kill some people to get there. So not exactly moral.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap and definitely overlap and stuff in that nature. I don't know what I was just saying there about that. There's more characters too. There is of course Boton, which is literally just the Grim Reaper that looks like an anime girl, blue hair. Basically, best girl in Grim Reaper, and really handles the spirit detectives and making sure they don't kill everybody, most people. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, she's there to help people feel less freaked out that they're dead, basically, and she does it with a bubblegum cute attitude. And when she's in human form, she has great 90s fashion queen, honestly.
Makes sense. Did you want to talk about Genkai?
Oh no, I wanted to bring something in about Boton. So something interesting about her is that she kind of, if you watch sports anime, she definitely fills in the manager type role, but with like a bit more personality and agency than like those types of characters are usually assigned.
Fair enough. And of course, the next character is, like I said, Genkai. The
Foreshadowing.
Yes, foreshadowing. The trainer of basically, I don't know. Did you technically train Kuwabara as well? Yusuke.
She did briefly, but it wasn't like he wasn't a successor.
Yeah. She basically trains Yusuke as her successor after a giant tournament where there's literally, I don't know how to describe it, just crazy tournaments. People fighting like people with like swastikas on their head. It's really crazy.
Okay, the swastika is the Buddhist one. No, don't worry about that. But there is a dude whose name is Chinpo, and I will not explain that any further.
Fair enough. I mean, it could be like Quattro Vagina or something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Something like
Something
that.
like that, something like that. But yeah, and the next character is, of course, Kurama that we talked about. Literally a baby, but is a couple thousand years old, a couple 100,000 years old. I don't know. Did you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure, yeah. Just think about like Boss Baby, the
Oh
anime.
my god.
Why do we do that Photoshop?
We really
doing
should.
that now.
Also, he is like the son of a bigger god who is a lot more scary, and Kurama has both a mix of defiance towards his scary god dad, but also really scared of him, and so constant threats of spanking, constant threats of times out, and he also likes to take out his anger on his poor ogre assistant George, which is not always cool, but it is a running gag. And yeah, he has another form other than being a baby. But,
Can I get that real quick?
yeah.
I was gonna say, if you guys have ever heard the expression, a certain word goes downhill, rolls downhill, that's basically how spirit world bureaucracy works in Yu Hakusho, where people at the top of the heap just like, take it out on their like superiors, which goes lower and lower. Just a weird treatise on office culture in Japan, accidentally.
It's like trickle down economics,
Yes.
except without the economics part. It's trickle down torture.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Down. But anyways, and then the last sketch we want to talk about and feature is, of course, the Big Bad Goro Brothers, which everyone probably saw from the tournament arc and a little bit later in the Chapter Black and a small part of it. But basically, they are two brothers that are, I don't know how to really describe, maybe you can describe better than I can.
What if you took the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Twins and replaced Danny DeVito with Freddy Krueger? You now have the Goro Brothers.
That's pretty much an accurate description. So they're basically originally hired by another big bad in one of the first seasons of Rescue Yutina arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically they had hired to stop and defend her. And then later on, they thought they killed them, but they brought them back through the power of anime and magic, I think is the proper term. And it turns out they have a bigger connection. I guess spoilers, he, younger Toguro, who is of course the bigger one, as you can tell. That's usually how it works.
Yep.
He was romantically involved with Genkai in a really strange and weird way. And
50 years ago.
50 years ago, but he's looking pretty good for 50, not gonna lie. What do you think?
He'd be approximately 70.
I mean, looking good for 70.
No, he's looking very good for 70. Man works out, you can tell.
Do you have any thoughts on the Toguro brothers and their creepiness?
Just that the elder one is like seriously the worst thing ever, and if you ever watch Chapter Black, you're gonna get even more annoyed with him than you were with the Dark Tournament. And that, yeah, these two, the reason why we picked these two out of all the other villains, I feel like they're the most well-known Yu Hakusho villains for sure.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the Shonen Jump video game, so that's pretty telling that they're pretty
iconic.
Did they put the villain of season 3 in eventually? I think they might have.
No, they never did.
They didn't, really?
No.
Oh, well, he's just too OP, that's it.
Yeah, he looked too much. He looked too much a D&D character towards the end of it.
Yeah, at the end of it, he kind of looks like, what if you took the bananas and pajamas but made them into like semi-armor? It's really weird.
Oh my gosh.
So, with that, we're now going to be talking about Hunter x Hunter.
So who here is a Hunter
Yeah.
x Hunter fan? I think that's probably more of the people. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured.
Not Hunter x Hunter. Let's get that straight.
Hunter times Hunter, Hunter's cross product, Hunter.
Hunter multiplication tables.
Hunter x Hunter. That's what it is. So, what is Hunter x Hunter? Hunter x Hunter is about golden freaks who decides to become a hunter and take the hunter exam in order to follow his dad, who he's never met before in his life, who actually became a hunter at his age. So he goes on this whole journey, meeting friends along the way, and making a lot of enemies, and going through a lot of shit, lack of a better
Oh
word.
yeah.
So,
Going through a lot of shoot. Let's go.
a lot of shit.
A lot of stuff, yeah. But it's kind of funny if you think about it. You brought up the father thing. I mean, Yu Hakusho. Sorry, Hunter x Hunter is about John going to try to find his father, while Yu Hakusho is about Yusuke trying to beat up his father. Is that a pretty accurate description?
It's not about him trying to beat up his father, it's more about him having a series of father figures that he has weird relationships with, sometimes beating them up, sometimes mourning their death. It's unclear, but a big theme of Togashi's work is fatherhood, and this is odd because if we looked into it, He's on good terms with his mom and dad. He has explained the reason this is a constant theme is because it's way easier to have shonen adventures when your parents are either dead or in an antagonistic relationship with yourself. It's a very Disney-style choice.
Yeah, that's pretty common in a lot of anime. And if you think about it, name an anime that has really a mother and father that are just like sort of just like stable and there. I really can't really think I can think of like any.
Ash Ketchum.
There you go.
Wait, no, the dad's not there.
His dad, Mr. Mime, yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what happened to his dad?
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
His dad, Entei.
Oh yeah, his dad, Mr. Mime.
His stepdad.
Okay, stepdad, Entei, anyway.
That's a podcast episode. I don't know. Alright. So let's move on to the characters of Hunter x Hunter. There's a
I actually had a legitimate question. Do you guys know like the background of the logo and the title, why it has an X if it's pronounced Hunter x Hunter?
Oh, okay. So the X in like a lot of Japanese pop culture, not so much language so much as pop culture, is just seen as a conjunction, and it's up to the individual property holder how they want to use it. And like so the X actually, if you look at it, it's not a Unicode letter X. It's like a cross symbol, which is a slightly different character, and that's like a purposeful choice, so it renders differently. But like for instance, there's a manga I think called Romeo spelled X Juliet, but it's really Romeo and Juliet. That's how it's pronounced. So it's a ambiguous conjunction that can be used different ways.
Yeah, it's either that or Togashi was an elite gamer and liked to put X's in titles to make it cooler.
Yeah,
One of
Dark
the two.
Smoke Puncher Hunter.
Yeah, that was the working title, but he decided to name it that instead because his editors did not like it. Alrighty, so let's go on to the characters of Hunter x Hunter. There's a lot of them, and we got a lot to cover. So of course, we got the first one is Best Boy Gone, a 12-year-old who basically lives on an island with Aunt Mito, and his father and mother are nowhere to be found. Kind of the atypical anime relationship with parents. So basically, he goes on an adventure to find his father, and I guess just to find adventure. I'm not really. I always thought it was just more him looking for adventure. Maybe you guys think differently.
I think honestly it's finding his father is kind of almost an excuse. It's the purpose is to find his father. Low key, the high key is to prove himself and have an adventure. That's what I think.
Can I take a spin?
No.
There's a little bit of a darker idea as well. He mentions in the show, but he says something to the effect of like, I want to meet my dad so I can ask him why he abandoned me. What's so cool about being a hunter that it's cool enough to abandon your son? Yeah! Basically.
Hunter x Hunter in a nutshell. But anyways.
My favorite episode, Mori.
Exactly. Oh, gee. Okay, so the next character is, of course, Killua, who is a 12-year-old assassin. Yeah, 12-year-old assassin. That's not a joke. But he basically, his parents tortured him, electrocuted him, basically trained to be a killer assassin to kill people and just, be deceptive. I don't know, maybe you can give him a better description.
I was going to say, y'all read that profile years ago about a woman named Amy Chua and the idea of like Asian tiger parents? Imagine that, but times 10 trillion. It's just like, oh yeah, we're the most hover parents and we're going to train you the hardest possible. You're literally going to, it's a real dark time.
Exactly. It's really a weird vibe. What are your head thoughts on Killua?
I agree with all that, but then he discovers the power of friendship. And things slowly start to change, and the character growth is just chef's kiss for him. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah, I can see why with most people he's best boy. So, justified completely. And then we have Kurapika's revenge. Well, that's basically, he's revenge. That's his whole character, it's just revenge. But basically, he is the last surviving member of the Kurta clan, who were known for their scarlet red eyes, and they were hunted for it, basically. And slaughtered, all that good, angsty, good stuff right there. And then he basically goes on this journey to find the Phantom Troop members who killed his clan members. And yeah, there's a whole arc with it, a lot of character growth. I guess. I don't know if it's growth.
Is it much growth or is it much growth or is it more like just agony?
Definitely agony, but you gotta have agony with revenge.
Let me jump in.
Exactly, sure.
There's a lot going on in the current manga that is not covered in the anime so far, with Kurapika specifically.
Exactly, and it's definitely a sadness because we'll talk about later about our want for more hunter is unquenchable. Unquenchable?
unquenchable, and it's balanced with a desire for Yoshiro Togashi to be healthy. So
Exactly. It's a weird
Trade-off.
mixture. But yeah, please live, Togashi. We want more Hunter, but we want you to live.
well, we also want you to be happy.
We want you to live. Anyways, so the next one we're going to talk about is, of course, Leorio, who I guess he's the parallel opposite of best boy and probably even going towards the worst boy category. Maybe you want to explain
He's a
that?
combination. He's a problematic fave. He's a combination. He's a
That's
problematic
a really
fave.
good point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, definitely problematic babe. I would say, for at least for me, he was hard to warm up to, but he has his good moments. So yeah, and he goes 100 for his friends. So I will give him that for sure. So.
Yeah, he
Take some time.
yeah, a little bit time to warm up. We don't see him quite a lot, so it's probably for the best. But yeah, those are the characters, and as you can see, there's definitely lots of parallels between Yu Yu Hakusho and that, where it literally is almost 1-to-1 for some characters, like Gon being.
We'll jump into it
yeah.
in a later slide.
Oh, you're doing it later slide? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that. My bad.
No worries.
I need to review. And then of course we have the problematic Hisoka.
The much more problematic, much more fave character.
Exactly. Basically, I guess the best way to describe him is that imagine if he was really into Insane Clown Posse assassination and got turned on by battle is the best way I can explain it.
It's basically, what if I became the Joker?
Exactly. He put on his Joker face and just, he's Jared Leto. Anyways, what do you think on it?
No, he's Cesar Romero. Come on.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
I would say he is very, very frustrating to watch because the thing he says and the things he does is so, but then when he takes off his shirt, you're like, and it's just like that moment, you're conflicted between what's in your morals in your mind and what you're feeling.
All right. I like that.
Anyway,
I like the wording of that. That was good.
Smooth.
Yes, but
yeah, problematic hobby thing.
exactly, and definitely a fave. Weirdly from fans, I don't know why, but
Oh, do you want to talk a little bit about like some properties of this man?
Oh yeah, Rubber and I think what's the other one?
I think it's gum.
Gum, yeah.
Bungee gum.
Bungee
has
gum.
the properties of rubber and gum. Yeah. All right.
I have the properties of not liking the character, but anyways, no. But anyways, the next one is biscuits or biscuit or some other weird pronunciation for biscuit. Basically,
Bisquick, you know.
Bisquick, yeah.
Sponsored.
Basically, Genkai. Man, I keep doing that. Biscuit is a trainer, basically of Gon and Killua during the Greed Island arc. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself there a little bit. But yeah, she is probably, at least in my opinion, my favorite character, and definitely is probably it's like an enhanced Genkai almost to me. What do you think?
She's like, what if one of the relationships we talked about earlier had consummated and had a child?
Yeah, that's pretty much on point without spoiling anything. But what are your thoughts on Biscuit?
Other than that, I really like her. I hope when I'm her age, well, I don't want to look that young, but
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah,
I
that's
age
a bit much.
gracefully. Yeah, she's 50 and she looks like she's 10, so pretty envious. Good skincare routine for sure.
Exactly.
She developed an entire power to help take care of her like mind and body.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't ask for more than that, right?
Yeah.
And then of course the next problematic
There's
fave.
a lot of problematic faves.
Yeah,
fair
this
enough.
is weird. Do you want to introduce him? I think he's one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, so the next character is Quolo Lucilfer. It's an interesting spelling, but long story short, he's the leader of the Phantom Troop, or this world's Akatsuki. He led the expedition that killed Kurapika's people, so, genocide for profit, that's kind of what he's into, I guess. But additionally, they're mostly thieves. They just don't care about like who they kill, etc. They're very interesting characters because he is very clearly supposed to be like parallel universe evil Jesus, because him and the Phantom Troop are organized as like basically Jesus and the Apostles. And it's sort of interesting how Togashi deals with them because they are characters who are incredible friends with each other, but terrible to everyone else. And so a lot of the drama of the series comes from like, how can these people who are like horrible monsters be so kind and good to each other?
Yeah, it's a definitely weird dynamic relationship between the Phantom Troop and how they act and how they react to losing members, where they get very, very angry. Weirdly enough, it's like, why'd you kill him? You shouldn't have done that.
Makes
Didn't
sense.
you kill an entire village? Yeah, but it's different though, right?
That's how real murderers are, though.
Yeah, so I guess on point development. And then of course the last but not least, Illumi, who is the brother of Killua, and definitely he is in a, I guess the closest thing I can, the way to describe him in a weird way is that he's in a relationship with Hisoka, so that should be really enough to describe that character.
There's more there. Like he also has like a very weirdly codependent and torturous and abusive relationship with his younger brother that he sees as a form of secondary parenting. So take that as you will.
Yeah, it's like hover parenting except on a completely messed up level.
Yeah.
Completely messed up. You want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's he seems like the type of brother that you would not tell like any of your secrets to, but you would find out anyway because he would find your diary under your bed and then rip out every page and paste it all over your wall to expose all your secrets, but in a way to develop character.
Yes, devolve character.
He would also then kill your crush because you're not allowed to have a crush. Not until mom and dad say so.
Yes, and he would be monitoring you with a needle that's implanted inside of your head.
Yeah, he's got some crazy acupuncture powers.
Exactly, and he's also known as Guitar Rocker.
Oh, yeah. So earlier he enters a contest under a pseudonym where his name like is usually translated as Gita Rocker, but like if you look at the katakana, it's probably actually Guitar Rocker, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't really trust Togashi on the way that names are romanized.
Oh yeah, he romanizes things very weirdly. Like he spelled Krollo without any vowels, like in a way that looks kind of like Welsh. If any of you are familiar with that language, it's real weird.
It's a weird decision making, but hey, we can't question Togashi. Alright, so next, do you want to do the...
Oh, I see a question.
I didn't realize that there's the guitar element. Is there any other like rock like things for a movie, or is it just that one-off thing?
Oh, it's just that one-off thing, and I honestly don't think there's necessarily. Oh, it's that one-off thing. I don't necessarily think there's like a deep meaning there. I just think it's like one of those puns that didn't come across, such as like. I'm trying to think of some other examples. Oh, like the character Razor during the dodgeball game. That's actually an alternate name for a type of baseball pitch that is mentioned in the 1999 anime. So like there's like weird references like that are never translated well, but like how could you? Like there's just like two weird deep cuts, or like, you know, you can definitely miss things like that if they're puns.
I thought his name was Laser.
Oh, also yeah, in a fan sub they thought his name was Laser because Japanese has a LR, like one letter for both things. And so because of that, like old fan subs used to refer to Razor as Laser. You know, Laser, Blazer, all sorts of Azers, dodgeball.
Exactly, dodgeball. Alright, so we next compare and contrast some of the shows. So do you want to talk a little bit about the comparison?
Okay, so with similarities, kind of like what we mentioned before, both Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho have themes of fatherhood, as well as having adult role models, and not necessarily only having role models that are your biological parents. I think that's a huge thing to emphasize with a lot of anime in general and TV shows in general. It emphasizes like found families, and I think that's true with both Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho for sure. And obviously, kind of like there's, I don't know, once we share the depth, but yeah, kind of have four main characters in both series, and in a lot of ways they parallel each other. And yeah, kind of like both have a lot of supernatural and like martial arts elements combined together. And then kind of like there's like conceptual and physical physical expansion of like the known world, kind of a lot of world building. Yu Yu Hakusho is set in the unless you want to kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I wrote that one. Sorry for not explaining it well, but basically, as the series goes on, they talk about different ways of interpreting the same world they're living in. Like basically, as more is known, people recontextualize the world they grew up in and kind of like better understand like history and like how certain things that happened like were either worse or better than they thought. I cannot explain that without really spoiling some stuff, but Yu Yu Hakusho definitely has some recontextualization when you find out more about the characters later in the series. And Hunter x Hunter does similarly post-anime. Final episode of the anime where they mention like, hey, there's more places to go.
Okay, and it's just really interesting. I love the I guess the crossover, and there's actually even references to characters that are like I guess not really as important, but like when the one character changed hair color in both of the shows.
Yeah, that's like a reference between the two shows. So we mentioned that the four main characters of each shows are analogs to each other in different ways, but there's also another couple characters in Hunter x Hunter who are also sort of analogs to the main characters of Yu Yu Hakusho. Like for instance, if you guys know, what's his name? I want to say Boncho, but that's definitely not it. The Kuwabara looking dude.
I have no idea.
I don't remember his name, but he's one of the dudes in the Nostrad family, and he looks straight up like Kuwabara if Kuwabara had like a 1800s Japanese facial hair.
Oh, I know you're talking about the one that with the
Basho. He's named after a famous haiku poet. That's how I should remember.
Because he does the haikus.
Yeah, because he does haikus, so he's named after a historical one. But he just straight up looks like Kuwabara and acts like him. So if you took Leorio plus Basho, you get Kuwabara. Stuff like that. You can do all sorts of weird Hunter x Hunter math. Like if you take Killua and add Phaeton of the Phantom Troop, you get Hiei. Additionally, if you take Kurapika and you add Kite, you get Kurama. Hair color change and all.
Except it's reversed, I think.
Except reversed, yeah. And if you take,
No, it's not reversed the same way.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this one's harder, but if you take Gon and then add to Knuckle, you basically, if you take Gon and Jing, you get Yusuke.
And if you just take Knuckle, he's basically just Ukiyasu from JoJo Part 4.
Yeah. There's all sorts of math you can do with this. Like you can just do a little bit of algebra and you can come up with your own equations. Come on, guys, let's solve this.
Exactly. We're all about math here, guys.
Definitely.
Even though I failed it. But anyways. So differences. I mean, there's definitely stuff. Did you want to handle the differences for this one?
Yeah, I can go through a couple. So Yu Yu Hakusho is set in the real world, while Hunter x Hunter is basically set in an alternate world that's kind of like our world. For instance, there's a York New instead of New York. So say that 10 times fast, unique New York or unique York New. Never mind, not gonna do that, yeah. But if you ever look at the world map, they also rearranged all the continents as well, so it's just like, oh yeah, Africa's always just been next to Connecticut. Yeah, that's right. Just like, yeah, some of it's upside down and like shifted around, just as a joke. There's a continent called Asia with a Z instead of an S, and just stuff like that. It's fun times. So Yu Yu Hakusho is based on Japanese folklore, while Hunter x Hunter is more of kind of its own thing. Like there's clearly influences from the real world. Like a lot of the characters practice martial arts based on like traditional like karate and kung fu, and they use chi-based attacks, but they change it up and such. But it's less realistically based. Well, realistic in big quotes. So Yu Yu Hakusho has an ending. Hunter x Hunter is ongoing.
It will end eventually.
It will end eventually, as will all things.
Hey, didn't Berserk end recently too?
No, Berserk has not ended yet.
We're gonna get a new chapter soon, right?
Patrick is trolling. Anyways, so Yu Yu Hakusho lavishes time and energy on the dynamics of the four main characters, while Hunter x Hunter has only a subset of the relations mattering that much. Like basically all the characters know each other, but there are definitely some people who would never hang out. Like I don't think like Kurapika and Killua would ever just like hang. Like unless like Gon's like the heart of it. Yu Yu Hakusho has that sort of implicitly, except all the characters still have good dynamics between each other. I think this is like more realistic, and I think it speaks to another difference that I don't think I mentioned on here, but I believe that Hunter x Hunter is much more about like active characters, people who are like looking for things, hence hunting, because hunting in this world is the idea of like seeking rather than like literally hunting. While in Yu Yu Hakusho, they are just constantly slammed by like, oh, there's something new coming into the human world and we have to solve it now. We have no time to think for ourselves or think about our own futures. And they definitely reflect the different times in which they were written, because when Togashi wrote Yu Yu Hakusho, he was a young man and he had to just like slam out pages all the time, like weekly. Meanwhile, by the time of Hunter x Hunter, he was so famous he was allowed to take like long hiatuses, etc. Yu Yu Hakusho is an inventive but traditional shonen, while Hunter x Hunter is an innovative and often deconstructionist shonen that kind of like takes apart like traditional tropes. And I think that's like one of the biggest differences, and it reflects not only like maturation of Togashi and his style, but also just like what does the medium want and like what was the place of like shonen at the time that it was written. Would you like to speak more to that, or either of you?
I was kind of expand, because I think for me, Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of like the quintessential shonen. series, and you can see its influence in a lot of shonen anime, you know, afterwards, like in the early 2000s with Naruto and Bleach and all that stuff. But yeah, once Hunter x Hunter came around and like you kind of have an idea in your mind, maybe, I don't know if other people have seen, but you have an idea of how the arc would play out, and then the exact opposite thing happens. So, which makes it fun. Like I think that's what's nice about Hunter x Hunter. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, so kind of going into our next section, and we're gonna keep this really light and fun and everything. I know obviously with the year and everything, it's we want to take
2 years.
last 2
Oh
years.
God, you'll
Yeah.
see why we're saying that.
But with the actual pandemic and COVID, we want to take that seriously. But this segment is just more about just fun, like ideas
It's
and
a thought experiment.
thought experiment, what their reactions could be, and this is something interactive. If you guys have an idea about what a character might think or might say, feel free to raise your hands and contribute. But yeah, so if there was a similar crazy thing that happened in Yu Hakusho world that happened with us,
Like the pandemic.
yeah, with the pandemic, how would they react? For me, I think Yusuke would think a mix of, I hope I don't have to go to school, and probably he would think it doesn't even matter, I don't even bother going to school anyway, so.
Yeah. He definitely very anti-mask. I ain't gonna wear this stupid thing.
I think that varies across time. I definitely think he would start that way early, but he would also be all about social distancing because he didn't want to talk to anyone. He would just be like, "Oh, you want me to go to school?" Like the truancy officer would show up, and he's like, "No, you gotta stay 6 feet away, man. You gotta stay 6 feet away." But like as he got more respectful and like cared more about other people, he probably would have changed his tune and kind of gone on from there.
Exactly. And Kurama, that one's a hard. This is a hard one, at least to me. I think he might take it seriously, especially if Yukina is somehow involved with it.
Even before that, he's all about his homies, and he doesn't want anyone getting sick, and he'd actually scold them. Like he's oddly motherly, actually, which is an adjective I don't think anyone's ever applied to him. But he's.
I think it's a really good one.
Yeah, he eventually becomes a doctor. Spoilers. Oh, what's up?
Oh, for Kuwabara, I can imagine him going out with his early delinquent introduction to Kuwabara. If someone sneezes, I feel like he'd just punch him in the face.
Yeah, that's a
Then he takes some Purell and puts it on his hand.
Yeah.
It's good.
I definitely see that happening.
I also think he would also be the friend who would be wanting to Zoom other people all the time because he misses everyone.
Definitely, yeah.
It's like, hey, let's schedule a Jackbox session or
Oh my
something.
God. Early 90s Jackbox. We're doing it, baby.
Just Yusuke has like 1,000 missed calls.
Yeah. Okay, with Kurama, I definitely think he would take it seriously, 9 feet apart, all that kind of good
Especially
stuff.
especially to protect his mom.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, God.
because she has a lot of health issues. I also think, kind of like with a lot of people, he would get into a lot of the hobbies if he was a little stir crazy.
Sourdough.
Like sourdough, plants. He already is in love with plants. I think that would go into.
Oh, like he just has a bunch of succulents all over.
Yeah, from like simple hobby to unhealthy obsession with just plants everywhere. I think he would. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think so. He has this pretense that he's like a 14-year-old boy because he possessed he possessed a kid 14 years ago. I think at this point he would just be like, oh, weird. I mysteriously got into college right now to get into a microbiology lab to try to help synthesize the vaccine.
Exactly. and it makes you wonder if he's like, this is vaguely familiar. It's kind of like those other 12 that I've experienced throughout my life.
Yeah, he was there for like the Black Plague. He was there for like the Black Plague,
Yeah, he's all about that not dying of horrible disease. But and he, of course, I think it'd just be 3 dots is the best way to describe it. He'd be like, I don't care, I'm just gonna social distance from everybody and everything anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, whether or not he believed in it, he just wouldn't be near enough people for it to be a problem.
He'd probably just like, I don't care. And then let's see, for Boton, I think she'd just be excited in a weird way if you think about it.
I don't know what that means.
She's a Grim Reaper, so.
Oh, no, she's still very sad about people dying. I guess it's when people she cares about die. So there's a chance that she would maybe just be like, oh, I'm swamped, guys. Sorry.
Sorry, I can't help about the demon. They're just so it's just crazy. Did you wanna?
kind of going to the next person. I think Genkai would definitely embrace the not just social distancing but complete isolation. She'd be like, I'm here in my forest, in my temple, where I'm surrounded just by demons. Don't come near me. Don't even try to Zoom me, like do a Zoom meeting with me. I am here by myself and I am thriving.
Wait, I gotta say something. Yo, in a world where Zoom exists, she definitely is a streamer. She's like just like that granny on Twitch, you know, because like she's like huge into video games. If y'all remember Yu Hakusho, like she has them try a bunch of arcade games when they come to her house. So if you updated the show to today, 30 years later, she would definitely be a Twitch streamer. But maybe like a VTuber of some sort. She wouldn't want to show her face because then demons who tried to kill her in the past would come after her.
She's her young form. But is this still playing? Yeah, this played, right?
She would just look like Bissy.
Yeah, basically, she just become young. Actually, that's another good one I didn't even think of. But and then Kurama. Oh, do you want to say anything about the? In Kurama, it's just muffled screaming noises in his office is what I can think of really.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I'm probably wondering if he could work from home, but he still has to go to the office.
I think he lives at home. I think he lives in his office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of funny. It's like I need to stay away. I don't want to die. It's like you're a 1,000-year-old spirit that can't die. But what about working from home? You are home. So it's just they definitely. So that's at least how I think you'd react to that. Did you want to cover how the Toguro brothers would react to it?
I think it's real simple. So the Toguro brothers, for those who don't know, are basically immortal, like functionally, and unless you kill them, like they're that kind of immortal. They can like heal from most things. Like one of them gets their heart ripped out, the other one like gets like crushed a couple times. So like I have a feeling they probably have amazing immune systems too. Probably pretty good health insurance as well.
Yeah, the demon health insurance, man. Especially the older brother.
I'm
Plays
just
that a
thinking,
lot.
yeah, it's just like his health insurance upside down Blue Cross.
Oh my god. The fish tank treatment.
Yes.
Okay, and then Hunter x Hunter characters, I think Gon would try to fight it, thinking it was somebody like an enemy of some sort.
That's some Goku stuff.
Yeah, at least I think so.
I don't know. I think Gon's smarter than people give him credit for. I think he would maybe get infected by trying to help people in a dumb way. Honestly, is what would happen.
He tried to punch it out of them, no, but but I mean, if you think about it, he might even be affected on it because he's on an island to begin with.
Yeah, but that island has a lot of visitors.
Oh.
It's a whaling island, or it formerly was a whaling island. Now it's a trading post, so probably a lot of people still visit. So he could still get infected.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has all those. Yeah, makes sense. Of course. Do you want to say anything about Gon? Gotcha. Do you want to do Killa?
Sure. I think he would be constantly trying to get Gon to stay at home. He would basically be wrangling Gon and just being like, put on your mask, wash your hands. He'd be like the old friend with the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, people like, put on your mask, you idiot.
Yeah, so I think he would definitely take it seriously and he'd just be constantly worrying over his friend, honestly.
Best buddies for work.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about Killa or?
No, I have something about Kurapika.
Alright, you want to do the crop together?
Yeah, I'm noticing a pattern that a lot more of these characters are shut-ins than I remembered actually. Because Kurapika, even though he's the head of a mob family, most of the time when you see him late in the series is literally just sitting in a room by himself with a bunch of eyeballs around him. So like, I mean, unless those eyeballs somehow infect him, I think he's probably gonna be okay.
Yeah, actually, let me reenact how he's going to react to it. Hold this mic.
I'm really worried. Oh, okay. I was worried what you were gonna do. You gotta cross your fingers. You gotta cross your fingers, man.
Oh, cross the fingers like that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
Exactly how to respond to that. With his phone off the hook with like 1,000 missed calls.
Oh yeah. He's also on that party line that's missing all the calls.
Exactly. He's missing all the calls.
As for Leorio, even though he's kind of like quote unquote the idiot of the group, he becomes book smart because like Kuwabara, he eventually also becomes a doctor. I think if I had to choose what type of doctor both of them would be, it'd probably be surgeon. But for a number of reasons, both for like what I think they want to do and also because I think it fits their personality. They're very gung-ho. But I think by virtue of that, he would want to avoid it. I think younger Leorio might have done something different, but I think Leorio, as he exists in the series, where he is literally a doctor, would probably act in a pretty responsible way.
Yeah, I actually know how he's responding. He basically would just like be like, wear masks, you idiots, what are you guys doing? Just like, I think get really aggro about it like he does with other things.
I wish any of us could do like a Kansai accent, just to do like a good like early Leorio impression. But
Just do the accent from the dub.
I didn't watch the dubs.
You should. Anyways, did you want to cover Hisoka?
Oh, no.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not sure. This one I'm kind of like unsure of how
Oh,
he would react. To be
I
honest.
do
That's a
know.
good question.
He'd be like, there's a coronavirus infection because of the because of the end of remember why he wasn't for the Chimera ants?
Oh, yeah, where he was just uninformed. Yeah. There's a chance he would be totally uninformed. Maybe have gotten it, just thought he had the flu, and, like, been miraculously unaffected because he has, like, he's very vital. He's an incredibly vital person, so there's a chance he would be one of the people who would just not have that much symptoms. So I'm going to bet on that.
All right. So yeah, I think that's probably a good thing. A really good analysis, not a good thing. Yeah.
Well, maybe for him it is a good thing. Maybe for him it would be a good thing that he had it.
He'd do it like poison damage.
God damn.
Alright, so Biscuit, I think she would be with her very sternness. I think she'd be like wash your hands, do all this sort of like how I'm trying to think of a good, like just like a very stern about that, sort of like a Kurobara almost. What do you think?
I think so. I think she would have probably had used this time to catch up on her hobbies. Like, probably she seems like low-key an Atomi game player, so she'd
definitely.
probably be doing that. And probably, I feel like she'd be on TikTok. Probably
my
like
God.
a similar to how Genkai's a streamer, she'd be a TikTok streamer.
Yeah,
Something
but
like
she
that.
does look way younger.
Yeah.
Exactly. I definitely think that'd be a good one.
I'm imagining the two of them in like a Twitter argument.
Who?
Genkai and Bisky.
Yeah, there's rival V streamers.
Yeah, oh my god.
VTubers, VTubers.
No, one's a VTuber, the other is their actual person.
Yeah, fair enough. Which one is which though?
It's pretty obvious.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, so the next one is Crow Lucifer. I think he would not care if not enjoy it because it means less people for him to kill if they already have it.
Yeah, I wonder if they would find some way to use the overpackedness of hospitals to steal medical equipment, honestly.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, some very weird enterprising thing. Some very weird enterprising strategy.
Exactly. So I think that'd be a good way to take advantage of that in his eyes. What do you think? Or did you want to cover Omi?
Oh, I could do that. I would say Kelly would definitely believe in alternatives.
Oh no.
So if I'm gonna leave it at that, he's one of those people. So whatever that means, his own inner power would help defeat it all.
He
So
probably has stolen a power with like immunization stuff going on. I don't know.
he would preach to other people that they don't need anything, but he would secretly take it himself. That he seems like that kind of guy. But yeah, and
Oh
then
my god, I just said the words that we
Illumi would definitely be the one who takes it from 0 to 100 in terms of, at least not for even himself, but just for Killua. Similar to Killua would try to be protective of Gon. I think Illumi would try to shove Killua into probably a panic room and be like, you're never going outside, you're gonna stay here,
That
and
does sound right.
yeah, you're going to survive through this, I got you, but in the scariest way possible.
The
So,
scariest, most codependently abusive way possible.
yeah.
I'd say another thing, I think, Patrick, you might have written this, that, like, basically when he finds out about coronavirus, he'd be like, oh, did one of Milky's, like, diseases get out? Because, like, their brother is, like, a tech genius and may or may not have, like, some biotech abilities. What is this slide?
Oh, crap, sorry. That was wrong convention. Sorry, guys. Basically, just going on. We like to talk about what Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter meant to us. So let's go with it. It is 4:49.
Yeah.
We got-
say this and then we'll open it up for questions, whatever you guys want to ask after that.
Exactly. So to me, I always considered Yu Hakusho just a really weird. Actually, let's just do in order so that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I'm going to read mine off because I think I wrote it better than I could just say right now. But as a kid with a lot of potential, a lack of discipline, and an inability to connect with my emotions, Yusuke, his outsidership, and his development as an individual and membership in a found family were aspirational. His struggles provided a lens for me to reconcile my idealism to adult responsibility and a tough and uncertain world.
In my opinion, what Yu Hakusho meant to me is that it was really. At first, it was this weird show that I saw as a bumper on Adult Swim where this giant red guy was spanking a baby in an ad. And I was like, why did they have it on TV? And very confusion. And Hunter x Hunter is just that's that anime I saw on Crunchyroll that's next to the recommendation section that I never visit ever. Next to Kubiashi Dragon Maid. But as it turned out, that its parallelism with friends and relationship really came full circle when I had friends and experienced it myself with these great group of people. So it was a wild ride, and I love it. I love both shows, and they mean a lot to me now.
Yeah, for me, Yu Yu Hakusho is part of my childhood. Watched it on Toonami, and once it was on Adult Swim at 2 a.m. in the morning, I would sneak downstairs to watch it while my parents were asleep. You know, worth all the all-nighters. You know, and then I would rewatch it once a year, like a different arc, a different season, and it took me a little while to warm up to Hunter x Hunter because I just had such sentimental value with Yu Yu Hakusho. I was like, I don't know, people keep hugging this other show, and I just want to be special and think that the first show is better. But then I gave Hunter x Hunter a try during the pandemic, which I think a lot of people did, and I fell in love, and it's like Gon's like one of my favorite characters ever, same with Killua, and I just love the different plots, all the different themes, and it made me cry. Like every single season made me cry, which is kind of common. I cry a lot, but this was special tears of joy and tears of sadness for our favorite characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you on that crying part. I can't get through Departure anymore without tearing up, especially after the Chimera arc. So, yeah, there's that. Anything? But you know, it's been great doing this with everybody, and I really love all these shows now. I must have watched Hunter like 3 times by now, working on a 4th. So, it's my new Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
All right.
Q&A, ask away. If you guys have any questions. Q&A, ask away. Any questions? Yeah, we're opening to you guys.
Yeah, and we'll run around with the microphone.
Yeah, and this will be on a podcast. So if you guys want to be on a podcast,
Oh yeah, that's a
feel free
good
to
point.
ask questions.
Actually, could you come up and then we'll just do it? I'm sorry. I just realized this like is not that long.
Or yeah.
Come on, let's do it.
Wait, so is Hunter x Hunter really continuing?
It's continuing in the manga. The problem is right now it's on a big hiatus.
I was gonna say, like, excuse me, sir, is there more?
So there is like at least a whole season's worth of more, and like it has one of the, I will not explain what I'm about to say, but it has one of the best fights I've ever seen in any manga currently running. But it's not a full season, like, and they're in the middle of things, and it's frankly they've set up a very complicated scenario. So when he eventually does come back, if he does, it will be fireworks. But I would say that do not read unless you are willing to kind of get something midway through a season.
There's actually rumors that they were going to do another season of that and doing a season of it. But the thing is that, like Joe said, right where it is, it's like an arc and a half, and it ends at a really weird place. So I don't think they really want to finish it until they do at least make progress like the Chimera arc. So there's that. Did you have anything to add to that?
Not in particular. I would say I hope they leave because I think a lot of shows that kind of diverge from the manga tend to be hit or miss. So I would hope they like stay true with Hunter x Hunter.
Agreed.
I was gonna make a Hunter x Hunter Brotherhood joke, and then I realized that Hunter x Hunter 2011 already is Hunter x Hunter Brotherhood, Hunter x Hunter 99.
It's kind of like Brotherhood, except it's good though, right?
Oh damn. Oh yeah, we have very divergent opinions about Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. Ask me about it after the panel.
Don't.
Any other questions that anybody has? Back there?
Please come up.
Sorry about that.
Sorry,
I really wish
if
this
it was
mic was
wireless,
right.
we would like bring it back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, good you.
Hello. So if you had to classify Gene's name, what would you classify?
Oh God, that's incredibly tough.
That's a hard one.
It's kind of a jargon question, but like basically there's a power system in the show called Nen, which is like a chi-based power system, but it has a lot more rules put on top of it than just, you know, emission and stuff like that. There's different categories that involve like the emission of energy, the transmutation of energy into physical objects, things like that, like the conjuring of, sorry, that's conjuring, and then anyways, it's a very complicated system. And so oftentimes in order to understand like a character's fighting style, you need to understand like what is their specialty and then like what is their power. And the question was basically like, based on personality traits and like various other attributes, can we try to guess what sort of Nen category they would be in? And My guess, like honestly, I know this is like a big cop out, is specialist. Just because like he's been shown to do many wide and varied things in the mangas, because he does not do this in the anime. To the point where like I feel there's got to be some weird contract going, like you can't raise your son or something like that. Like, yeah, that would be terrible if the contract was literally like, oh yeah, I'll get stronger by abandoning my child. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be something like abandoned and then he comes back and then like he eats an ender or eats gone or something. I don't know. There's some weird ones. If you guys watch, you know, obviously that's some conditions. But do you guys have any other? Oh, sorry. Oh, wait, wait, sorry.
I would say probably specialist or I don't know, like whereas gung ho as he seems, I think he's also I don't know, like at least with his bones, like he seems almost like he's okay, like he's trying to in many ways kind of get going and follow like he's doing with all those like little things and stuff and stuff. You can see Conjure, so that's just my opinion.
Definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're running out of time, but if you guys want like a very thorough breakdown, look up Super Eye Patchful. He has a YouTube channel. He breaks down what he thinks is Gene's Nentype. I forget what he eventually settled on, but I don't think it was specialist. And he has a lot more evidence than me, but this is just my theory. He's also basing it on criteria that are listed in the manga and not in the anime as well. So he cross-referenced both lists because they're slightly different.
I think that's about it, guys. Thank you for coming. We're a podcast of Spear Hunters. That's our name. We look up a Spear Hunter Pod on Facebook and Twitter. Or
We're on iTunes. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're basically wherever podcasts aren't sold.
Exactly, and yeah, definitely. If you guys are interested in listening, check us out. And you can just Google it, the Spirit Hunters podcast. There's also a couple of ghost ones, so don't click on those. We're not haunted.
Yeah, there's like a couple ghost hunting shows, but those are not us.
Yeah, we don't hunt ghosts yet.
Next season, baby.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much, guys. All right.